There's literally miles of tunnels beneath Saqqara. So it's like a giant underground necropolis as well as having stuff on top, pyramids.
Is that that step pyramid in Saqqara where like you go into the middle of it and you look down and it's just this giant pit with crazy. A massive granite box at the bottom of it?
Yeah, it's one of my. In fact, they just opened this up for tourism. And it's actually a really good thing is that the Egyptian authorities are opening up more things. There seem to be understanding that like people are interested in the mystery and they want to see stuff. So thankfully they just did a good job renovating it and opened it up for tourism. But yeah, so that you have this step pyramid structure, allegedly the proto-pyramid, I think was actually built by the dynastic Egyptians. But it's built over a massive pit in the ground that's like, it's probably 100 feet deep, about 45 or so feet wide, square, and you look down onto this thing and there's at the bottom, there's a massive multi-piece granite box that's made up of like 32 pieces of granite weighing anywhere up to about 5 or 6 tons each. I think that box and that pit were likely there and that the Egyptians constructed that step pyramid over the top of it. Imhotep designed it. And I think that was then claimed and used as a burial site for Djoser, the pharaoh.
What is this box right here?
This box?
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite boxes at the Serapeum. So this is in, so the Serapeum is at Saqqara. It's a series of underground galleries, beautiful gallery, like these tunnels you could drive a Volkswagen down. They're huge and straight. And one of them goes for nearly 200 meters. And inside the Serapeum, you have 25 of these things, which are these single piece, like 100-ton granite boxes. They're insane. It's absolutely insane. And this one in particular is in an off-limits area that we went into that's rarely seen by tourists. It may be the biggest one there. It's made out of like a black granite, or it might even be granodiorite. It's not, we don't know exactly where the quarry for this thing was. That's its lid sitting on top. And it actually isn't finished. It developed a crack at the end. And it was, for some reason, just shelved there. They decided, well, we'll just tuck this thing away in a corner in this underground structure and leave it there because it was never quite finished.
That thing weighs 100 tons?
With the lid, yeah. So the box itself might be about 70 and the lid's probably 30 tons. And the lid's been pushed back and it's insane. And there's 25 of them. And here's the thing, like we've never made anything like this in our civilization. Not saying we couldn't, but an interesting experiment. Chris Dunn went to like a granite processing company and said, hey, what would it cost? How could you make us one of these boxes? And they're like, well, for starters, the lump of granite's going to be a ton amount of money. And then it's like, we couldn't make the box without developing specific tools to do it, because the way they'd make it is they'd cut like 5 slabs and then bolt them together, like a floor and then 4 walls, and they'd bolt it together into a box. These are single pieces. So what's impressive about that is it's like you have to quarry this one block of stone and then dig it out. You have to dig all of the inside out, and some of the examples of precision in the Serapeum are absolutely remarkable. You have perfect 90-degree corners in some of the boxes, perfect 90-degree interfaces with the lids, and some of these walls maintain that geometry from like being 11 feet apart. Like that's insane. Like that's one of the major challenges of this is in designing and maintaining that type of relative geometry in a space where you can't afford to make any mistakes. So as you cut down, if you cut something wrong, like you're done. You can't change that whole inside shape, but they've managed to keep these incredibly precise, and you get right down to these little trilinear corners in the bottom corners, and then the walls on it are all polished like mirrors. And there's 25 of them. Now, they're not all finished. So what's even more remarkable at the Serapeum is it seems like a lot of this work was being done in situ. Like the boxes were being worked on in situ.
What do you mean in situ?
In situation. So they were. There's evidence of multiple steps of work. So that big black box we looked at, this is for example is a collection of the boxes. The lighting's not the best in the Serapeum. You kind of have to see it to understand it. But yeah, these are and they're all housed in offset alcoves from these tunnels. They sit down about 6 or 7 feet. Like the alcoves are sitting down about 6 or 7 feet. So
yeah, it's like kind of like a horse stable. Right?
Kind of, yeah.
They're all in their own little stables.
Yep. And they're all offset. This was a strange thing. There's no 2 alcoves that line up and look at each other. So you got multiple challenges when it comes to the Serapeum. One of them is, first and foremost, the logistics of moving that stuff in there. Like the roof hasn't been constructed, right? So it's not like if you were doing this from a functional perspective, or the easiest way to do it would be that you dig the hole in the ground, you'd lower the boxes down in there, and then you'd build the roof and everything over the top of it. That's not what's going on in the Serapeum. These are tunnels that are dug into the bedrock. So the boxes had to be moved in through the front door, maneuvered through all these tunnel systems, and then placed and lowered down into these alcoves. And again, you're looking at blocks of stone that are up to 100 tons, maybe more if they haven't fully been hollowed out and finished. And one of the crazy thing is the biggest boxes in here, you're talking about a foot of clearance difference in the width of the box to the width of the tunnels. So you have 1 foot. It's like I'd like to use that's the Friends episode where they're trying to move a couch up a staircase, like pivot. Imagine trying to move a 100-ton object in that tight space into an alcove like that. And again, we don't know how they lit it. We don't know how it's pitch. I've been down there where they turn the lights on. It's pitch black. You just go inside a little way and it's pitch black.
You can't light a flame in there.
Well, there's no evidence for that. We see in a lot of temples where they've used fire and flame, and you have that exhaust. You have the soot marks everywhere. There's no evidence for that in the Serapeum.
Really?
Yep, we don't know how they lit it. There's no evidence for heavy use of flame, and then we don't know how they moved it because the calculation to move you need at least 150 people to move, say, a 50-ton box. That means
look at that fucking thing.
Yeah, it's insane. So if you assume one person can pull 200 kilograms, which is 440 pounds, then you need 150 people to pull a 50-ton load. So you're trying to cram 150 people into these tunnels. It just doesn't make it. It's impossible.
High technology in Egypt that does not line up with the tools that the earliest official civilization of Egypt had. What were those 3 examples of high technology that they had?
The ones that I use in particular are I think when it comes to the engineering aspect is the evidence for machining. So this is the cutting and polishing of stone, and of very, very hard types of stone in particular. You're talking about things like granite and basalt and diorite, which are, if anyone's familiar with the Mohs scale of hardness, can be anywhere from like 6 to 8 on the Mohs scale of hardness.
This is the Mohs scale of hardness?
MOHS, Mohs scale of hardness. So it's basically like, you take a harder material, and if it scratches the surface material, another material that's harder than that. So it starts at, your fingernail's like a 2 or a 3, and then diamond is the top of the scale at a 10. Okay. Yeah, so you get to 10, and that's the top scale. So, steel, iron is like a 5.5, 6. Steel is like a 6. Things like that. So you're talking about stone that's harder than steel.
Okay, wow.
Granite.
Holy
Basalt's a little bit harder. There's even examples in that, and we get to it with the vases, but there's examples of stuff made from corundum, which is a 9. Like, it's literally just about as hard as diamond, but there's vases made from this that display all this evidence of machining. So it's not just the fact that these stones were used, but there is evidence in the stonework of frankly power tools. Something's been used to carve these stones at a very rapid rate. That's the thing. There's been a bunch of, I dive into a lot of the experiments and the research that's been done in these, the history of investigation into these different types of cutting. So tube drills, circular saws, cutting stones, the grinding method, the pounding stones. This has been an ongoing discussion for 150 years. There's been people that have been looking at this and scratching their head for like 150 years and going, this can't have been done with these primitive tools that we've found in the archaeological record, versus the establishment saying, well, these are the tools that we found, so therefore these must have been the tools that we used. And it's just like, you can't use those tools to show us the same result. Something else was done. And we know what tools the dynastic Egyptians
used. There you
used.
go. Yeah, that's one of the great examples.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite examples, actually. So this is a block of stone that's at a place called Abu
Can you
Sir.
full screen this?
But yeah, so there's a block of stone at Abu Sir that is.
Oh, there you go. You just passed it.
It's nearly cut all the way through. This is amazing evidence, because you can now sort of determine the rate at which the saw progressed through the stone, which turns out to be quite rapid. And you can compare that to the experiments that have been done in the Orthodox model, which says that, well, what they did was they got a big copper bar, and they just ground sand with water on it, and they just went back and forth for days and days, and there's been a bunch of experiments that look at how long that takes. And these are like a couple of the guys like Dennis Stocks that are on the mainstream side that have done a little bit of work on this. And it's just the numbers are insane. And you don't get the same marks using that technique And one of the major problems with it is that you wear away the copper bar at about the same rate that you're wearing away the stone. Right. So, and when you start to extrapolate that, so for example, I think I calculated that there's a box that's in the second pyramid at Giza, at Khafre's pyramid. It's a granite box. It's like 10 feet long and 4 or 5 feet wide. And using the experiments and the rates that we've done to do the grinding method, just to make the 6 cuts that you'd need, so north, south, east, west, top and bottom, 6 cuts, you're talking a year of labor to cut that one box, to make those cuts using copper bars. A year. A lot of modern or contemporary sort of Egyptology, which is that the writing is the bedrock of Egyptology. Once we translated hieroglyphs, that the Rosetta Stone, and we were able to sort of start to translate, and that's been a huge science. It's wonderful, actually. It becomes the bedrock of how we date and relate objects and artifacts, because it's whatever was written on them. It's not the only way, but whatever's written on these things becomes the primary methodology for how we date them. So if it is written on them, so you have the name of a guy on an artifact, it's just like, well, the inference is therefore that he probably had this thing made for him, and therefore he might have even made the whole site. It's not the only method that's used, but it is a primary one. It's probably the first one they'd go to for dating stuff. And what's interesting, even on this box here, is one of the other issues with this idea is that you actually have an empty Shen ring on this box, or a cartouche, which doesn't have a name in it. So it's all carved up, and there's an empty Shen ring in here, and all you have to do is imagine that there's the name of a pharaoh in this Shen ring, and then the history books would say that it was this guy that made this box and probably this whole site, and that's how the whole story of it, that's what ends up in a history textbook. Yeah. But it's empty, and we don't know whose name was going in here. I suspect it was whoever was going to pay the priests that ran the place the most, because this box was probably being sold for dedication. Right? This is the priests ran this site. We know there were all over the Serapeum. There's there's little indentations on the walls that have, there were these little limestone or granite steles that you would put in there and have a dedication to yourself, and this was a service was being sold by the priests that were running the place. Right. It's one of the issues with it, and it goes further. Once you start to see this dichotomy of technology between the artifacts themselves and the writing, you start to see it in a lot of places, and this is a great example I like to show people. Incredible. Yeah, it's a Hyksos Sphinx. But you can see that the ribs are kind of being shown up by the light almost is being used, to the reflection, to show that the rib line on this thing. But then you take a close look at the hieroglyphs, and they're just crudely chiseled. Like it's, you see the hammer marks, you see the fact that it's done by hand. And here's another key indicator for me: the hieroglyphs are never polished. Right, so the rest of the stone is polished, and there's obviously, it's not all flat surfaces and easy polishing. There's lots of interesting and tight sort of parts of the stonework that were polished, but the hieroglyphs are never polished. So, for example, if you look at some of these incredible statues that come from the Old Kingdom, you have the top of the chest, the clavicle here is all beautifully done. You have the fingernails, the cuticles, the insides of the fingernails. Right, all of that stonework's polished, right? This isn't flat surfaces. So they were capable of polishing stone. Whoever built this statue could polish stone in whatever form they wanted to. There's dust all over this statue, but it is polished. And, you get these beautiful examples of knees. Like, this is one of the best knees in... this is in granite diorite, not for nothing, but incredible musculature and bone structure.
Granite diorite?
Granodiorite.
Granodiorite. How hard is that stone?
Slightly harder than granite. It's like a mixture between granite and diorite.
And what is the hardest stone on Earth?
Diamond.
And diorite's how far?
Diorite's like a 7.5. So diamond's a 10 on the Mohs scale of hardness. Things like hardened steel might be a 6.5, and granite can be a 6.5 to a 7. Some are diorite and flint, and some of the other harder stones, either porphyry or dolerite can go up to like 7.5, 8.
Okay.
Corundum, topaz, things like this are a 9, and we have artifacts made from things like corundum. It's not polished, right? Even in the good hieroglyphs that are on the side of this statue. Like this, the interior of the bird, not polished. The Shen ring around the king's cartouche there, not straight and not polished. The lotus flower motif below it is polished. Like, so it's like when this is a different this was done with a different technology, potentially done at an entirely different time. So it's difficult to say then that the writing is how we can date and relate this artifact into the story of history. It's entirely possible that this was inherited, we don't know how old it is, and then somebody wrote their name on it later and claimed it. And in fact, we have evidence of that very thing. In fact, here's one more good example of the polish. I like this shot because it shows you the polished stone, and then you can see the chisel marks. This is all of this. These hieroglyphs, they're good, but they're all done by hand. And we know that the practice of writings of somebody usurping an artifact, Flinders Petrie called Ramses II the Great Usurper. Mm-hmm. He's one of the people think about him as one of the most powerful kings of ancient Egypt. But he was notorious for writing his name on stuff. This is an example here I can show you real quick. It's like that's the cartouche of Ramses II right here. This big guy here, it's carved in very deeply into, and I actually love this photograph. He's carved it deeply into what is a reused section of an obelisk. But look closely at the end here.
Oh yeah, that bird?
He's carving over the top of a pre-existing inscription. For people that haven't heard of the labyrinth, it was one of the ancient wonders of the world. Like this was described by Herodotus and Pliny the Elder and Strabo and all these historical figures that saw it. And Herodotus described it as exceeding in splendor and wonder that of the pyramids. Like this was the labyrinth was this sort of 1,000-room structure that was supposedly just absolutely magnificent. You could have fit all of the temples of Karnak and Luxor and all of the temples of Egypt into its footprint. It was underground. It had multiple levels. There's all these historical accounts of people visiting it and just being awed, like massive granite blocks and structures and temples. It's this huge thing that was just lost to the sands of time, right? It just disappeared. At some point after, the early Romans sort of wrote about it and the Greeks, it just somehow disappeared into the sands of time. Now, we've never known where it is or what it is, and it would be like a pyramid. It would rival the Great Pyramid for sure if we were to find it. But it turns out we found it, and Petrie actually thought he found it. He found some blocks. It's at a site called Hawara in Egypt. It's over near the Fayum region, and Petrie was digging around. And a lot of people have speculated it might have been in this area. Petrie dug around, found these massive granite blocks, thought, I'm standing on the foundation for it, the bottom level, like it's all been quarried and taken away, and this must be the foundation for it. Turns out he was standing on its roof. So it wasn't really looked at again after that for a while, but a guy named Louis de Cordier did something called the Matterhorn expedition. I think it was 2008. He went in and he had partnership with the Egyptian Department of Antiquities for this study. And they went and did ground penetrating radar and these other acoustic tests and a whole bunch of different tests at Hawara, and they found it. They found they found the labyrinth. It was spread out across like multiple football fields and on all sides of this pyramid and on all sides of this canal. Thing is absolutely massive. They found all this granite and these labyrinthine like structures under the ground. And unfortunately, his entire report and all of the public information about this was suppressed. It was literally, and Louis de Cordier said it was Zahi Hawass suppressed it under threat of national security sanction, meaning that he would ban anyone that violated this suppression from ever coming to Egypt again, and it was buried.
Who was the guy who suppressed it?
Zahi Hawass.
Who was he?
He was the Egyptian minister he was in charge of the Supreme Council of Antiquities. He's a politician. Well, he's a famous Egyptologist. He's written a bunch of books.
The Indiana Jones guy.
Guy. Yep. So, but this is not me saying, this is Louis de Cordier, the guy who funded and directed it, along with Ghent University of Belgium, did this whole experiment, did this report called the Matterhorn expedition. If you go and search on archive.org, you can probably still find some of it. I've got the paper from it. It was disappeared from the web. He waited a bunch of years and then eventually came out and sort of talked about it, but there wasn't any press about it. So, and it's unfortunate is because the labyrinth is like one of the lost wonders of the ancient world. Like it's sitting right there, and unfortunately it's rotting away in like salty groundwater because that's one of the challenges, I think. And I think this is where I say it's not, I don't know if it was, I think it's mostly being suppressed and was buried because of probably political reasons more than anything, because it has to do with the damming of the Nile River. Like, so when Egypt dammed the Nile in the 1960s, they put up what's called the Aswan Dam, and that stopped that inundation of the Nile. So every year the Nile would flood, and it would spread its, it would flood and then it would retreat and it would flood, and that's how they did a lot of their irrigation. When they dammed the Nile, everything north of that ceased, that inundation stopped. Now, you'd think that that would lower the water table, but it actually has the opposite effect. Because the Nile wouldn't shrink down in summer, there's been a consistent flow of water into there. It's actually raised the water table. So in the last sort of couple hundred years, the water table in these regions has come up significantly, including at Giza, places like that, the level of water's come up. So today, the water table at Hawara is at about 5 meters, and the labyrinth starts at about 9 meters underground. Shit. So, and in order to fix that and to excavate and do stuff, you're talking like probably billions of dollars of infrastructure required to even fix the drainage on the site. And it also sits at the neck, the entry into the Fayum region, which is a large depression that's used for a lot of agriculture in Egypt. And they'd have to probably start messing with like farmers' water, and it would be a huge political problem.
Scientists find a flying ship under the Great Pyramid, and it's not what you think. Could this discovery rewrite our understanding of ancient Egyptian technology? What secrets did the builders of the Great Pyramid possess that we are only now beginning to uncover? Join us as we dig into this astonishing find and explore the mysteries it holds. Experts in a variety of professions have been enthralled by the recent find of the flying ship beneath the Great Pyramid. Dr. Elena Poag, an expert in ancient Egyptian technology, describes the find as unprecedented and emphasizes its significance. This discovery challenges everything we thought we knew about this period. The ship's advanced design suggests a level of technological sophistication that was previously unimaginable for the ancient Egyptians. The ship, measuring 44 meters long and 6 meters wide, was constructed primarily of cedar wood. Its most striking feature was its aerodynamic design, suggesting it was intended for flight, not water travel. Unlike traditional ancient Egyptian vessels, which were typically flat-bottomed for stability on the Nile, this ship had a sleek, streamlined shape. The hull was pointed at both ends, resembling the design of modern aircraft, with curves and angles that would minimize air resistance. The wood was intricately carved with hieroglyphs and symbols, many of which depicted scenes of flight and celestial beings. These carvings added to the mystery and intrigue of the ship. Was this vessel part of a religious or ceremonial practice? Or did it serve a practical purpose that we have yet to understand? The craftsmanship was extraordinary, with every joint and seam meticulously fitted together, demonstrating an advanced understanding of aerodynamics and structural integrity. To illustrate the point, Dr. Ahmed Hassan, a renowned Egyptologist, shares a similar sentiment. The presence of this ship under the Great Pyramid opens up a whole new chapter in our understanding of ancient Egyptian civilization. It forces us to reconsider their capabilities and the extent of their knowledge. Historians also weigh in on the implications of this discovery. Dr. Sarah Johnson, a historian specializing in ancient civilizations, notes, "The aerodynamic design of the ship and the materials used in its construction suggest that the ancient Egyptians had access to advanced techniques and knowledge. This raises intriguing questions about their interactions with other cultures and their overall technological prowess." Professor Michael Carter, an archaeologist who has studied the Great Pyramid extensively, adds, "The discovery of the flying ship beneath the Great Pyramid is a game changer. It focuses on the complexity of the pyramid's construction and suggests that there are still many secrets hidden within its walls. The Great Pyramid, built over 4,000 years ago, has long been the subject of fascination and speculation. As the oldest of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, it has drawn countless archaeologists and historians to its mysterious structure. Standing at a staggering 146 meters tall, it was the tallest man-made structure in the world for over 3,800 years. But what makes this pyramid truly extraordinary? Constructed during the 4th dynasty of the Old Kingdom of Egypt, around 2580-2560 BC, the Great Pyramid was built as a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu. Its precise alignment with the cardinal points and its perfect geometric proportions have baffled experts for centuries. How did the ancient Egyptians achieve such precision with the limited technology available to them at the time? The pyramid is made up of an estimated 2.3 million blocks of limestone and granite, each weighing between 2.5 and 15 tons. The sheer scale of this construction project is mind-boggling. How did they transport these massive stones from the quarries to the construction site? Some theories suggest that a network of ramps and levers was used, but no definitive evidence has been found to support this. A maze-like structure made of a number of small tunnels and rooms inside the pyramid has generated a great deal of discussion and investigation. In the interior of the pyramid, in the king's chamber, is a massive granite sarcophagus that is thought to have contained Pharaoh Khufu's remains. But no mummy was ever discovered, which begs the issue of what the real intention behind this impressive edifice was. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Great Pyramid is its connection to the stars. The pyramid's sides are aligned almost perfectly with the 4 cardinal points, and the shafts within the structure are thought to align with specific stars. This has led some to speculate that the pyramid served not just as a tomb, but also as an astronomical observatory or a monument to the gods. Over the years, the Great Pyramid has been the center of numerous theories and myths. Some believe it holds hidden chambers and tunnels that have yet to be discovered. Others suggest it was built with the help of advanced technology, possibly even from extraterrestrial sources. While these theories are often dismissed by mainstream archaeology, they add to the enduring mystery and allure of the pyramid. This intricate history is further enhanced by the finding of the flying ship beneath the Great Pyramid. How could such a sophisticated structure remain hidden for so long? What does this tell us about the ancient Egyptians' capabilities and knowledge? These questions continue to captivate researchers and enthusiasts alike, driving further exploration and study. As we look more into this astonishing find, it's essential to consider the broader context of ancient Egyptian civilization. The Great Pyramid stands as a proof to the ingenuity and ambition of the people who built it. But it also reminds us that there is still much we don't know about this ancient culture. Every new discovery, like the flying ship, brings us closer to understanding the true extent of their achievements. In 2024, a team of archaeologists using ground-penetrating radar made an unexpected find. Beneath the Great Pyramid, they discovered what appeared to be the remnants of a large ancient vessel. This discovery sent shockwaves through the archaeological community, sparking intense curiosity and speculation. What could this vessel be, and how did it end up buried under the pyramid? The initial discovery was made during a routine survey aimed at mapping the subterranean features of the pyramid complex. As the radar images came through, the team noticed an anomaly, a large rectangular shape that stood out from the surrounding rock and sand. Further analysis revealed that this shape was composed of a material distinct from the natural geological formations. Excitement quickly turned to action as the team prepared to excavate this mysterious find. Over the following months, the team carefully excavated the site, revealing a well-preserved wooden structure unlike any other known Egyptian artifact. The excavation process was painstaking, requiring the expertise of archaeologists, engineers, and preservation specialists. Each step was meticulously planned and executed to ensure the integrity of the fragile structure. The first task was to remove the overlying layers of sand and debris. This involved using a combination of hand tools and small machinery to carefully sift through the material, ensuring that no part of the ancient vessel was damaged in the process. As they explored more, the outline of the vessel began to emerge more clearly, revealing its impressive size and intricate design. The team worked in shifts around the clock, driven by the anticipation of what lay beneath. Their meticulous efforts paid off as the ship's structure became more defined with each passing day, heightening the sense of excitement and discovery. As they uncovered more of the vessel, it became clear that this was no ordinary ship. Its design and construction suggested a level of sophistication far beyond what was previously known. The wood was in remarkably good condition, preserved by the dry, stable environment beneath the pyramid. The vessel measured approximately 44 meters long and 6 meters wide, with intricate carvings and symbols adorning its surface. The team documented every detail, taking thousands of photographs and creating detailed sketches and diagrams. They also collected samples of the wood and other materials for further analysis. These samples would later provide crucial information about the age and origin of the vessel. As the excavation progressed, the team encountered several challenges. The fragile state of the wood required careful handling to prevent damage. They also had to contend with the tight, confined spaces within the pyramid complex. But despite these obstacles, their determination and expertise prevailed. As we continue to explore and study this remarkable find, one thing is certain: the Great Pyramid still has many secrets to reveal. Each new discovery adds to our understanding of the past and inspires us to keep searching for answers. What will we find next? Only time will tell. The interior of the ship was equally impressive. There were compartments and chambers that seemed designed for storage and habitation. The layout suggested that the ship could carry passengers or cargo, possibly for long journeys. How did the ancient Egyptians conceive of such a sophisticated design? The answer to this question continues to elude experts and fuels speculation about the ship's origins and purpose. Indeed, carbon dating was a crucial step in determining the ship's age. Samples of the wood and other organic materials were analyzed, revealing that the ship dates back to the 4th dynasty, around the time of Pharaoh Khufu. This aligns with the construction of the Great Pyramid, suggesting a connection between the two. But what was that connection? Was the ship built for the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife? Or did it serve a different, more mysterious purpose? Further analysis included scanning electron microscopy and X-ray fluorescence, which provided detailed information about the ship's composition. These techniques revealed traces of metals and other materials not commonly found in ancient Egyptian artifacts. Could these elements have played a role in the ship's supposed ability to fly? The presence of these materials raises intriguing possibilities about ancient Egyptian technology and knowledge. The aerodynamic design of the ship was studied using computational fluid dynamics, CFD, simulations. These simulations showed that the ship's shape would generate lift, similar to modern aircraft, under the right conditions. This finding supports the theory that the ship was designed for flight. But how did the ancient Egyptians achieve this? Did they have knowledge of principles that we only discovered in modern times? As researchers continue to study the flying ship, new questions arise. What was the ship's intended purpose? How did the ancient Egyptians develop the technology to build such a vessel? The flying ship finding casts doubt on our knowledge of ancient Egyptian technology and creates fresh study opportunities. It suggests that the ancient Egyptians may have had capabilities that we are only beginning to comprehend. As we explore more into this mystery, we are reminded of the great potential for new discoveries that lie hidden beneath the sands of time. There are a ton of hypotheses regarding how the ancient Egyptians could have constructed a flying ship in response to the finding of the flying ship within the Great Pyramid. Some experts believe the ship's design indicates knowledge of aerodynamics far ahead of its time. Could the ancient Egyptians have possessed advanced technology now lost to history? One theory suggests that the ancient Egyptians had a good understanding of natural principles that allowed them to manipulate materials and construct highly advanced structures. The aerodynamic shape of the ship, with its sleek, streamlined form, suggests an intentional design aimed at reducing air resistance and achieving lift. This knowledge, if true, would place the ancient Egyptians among the most advanced civilizations of their time. Another possibility is that the ship was built using a combination of known and unknown materials that enhanced its flight capabilities. The presence of certain metals and compounds in the ship's construction hints at a sophisticated level of metallurgy. Could these materials have been used to create a vessel capable of navigating the skies? If so, what other technological marvels did the ancient Egyptians possess? Some researchers argue that the ship's design reflects an understanding of principles similar to those used in modern aviation. The ship's curved hull and pointed ends are reminiscent of contemporary aircraft designs, which are optimized for aerodynamic efficiency. How did the ancient Egyptians acquire such knowledge? Was it through careful observation and experimentation? Or did they have access to information that has since been lost? One such theory suggests that the ancient Egyptians were visited by beings from another world who shared their advanced knowledge and technology. Proponents of this idea point to the ship's sophisticated design and construction as evidence of extraterrestrial influence. They argue that such a leap in technology would be difficult to achieve without outside assistance. Could the ship be a relic of this otherworldly contact? Another alternative theory posits that the ship was part of a larger network of advanced technologies spread across ancient civilizations. Some researchers believe that there was once a global civilization that possessed incredible knowledge and capabilities. The ship, according to this theory, is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. How does this fit into our understanding of ancient history? Skeptics of the extraterrestrial and global civilization theories argue that these ideas lack concrete evidence and rely too heavily on speculation. They suggest that the ship can be explained through more conventional means, such as the ingenuity and resourcefulness of the ancient Egyptians. But even within this framework, the ship remains a mystery. The flying ship found under the Great Pyramid is full of mysteries. Its purpose remains unknown, as does the method of its construction. Even more puzzling is why it was hidden beneath the Great Pyramid. Theories range from advanced ancient technology to alien contact, each adding a layer of intrigue to this fascinating discovery. What other mysteries lie hidden under the sands of Egypt? The story of the flying ship is a reminder that our understanding of history is always evolving, driven by new discoveries and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. As we explore these theories and speculations, we move closer to uncovering the truth behind one of history's greatest puzzles. If the ancient Egyptians did indeed create a flying ship, it would drastically alter our perception of their technological capabilities and their understanding of the world. This discovery challenges the conventional narrative of ancient Egyptian history, suggesting that they possessed knowledge and skills far beyond what we previously believed. The implications of this are complex, potentially rewriting entire chapters of history books. The existence of such advanced technology indicates that the ancient Egyptians were not just master builders, but also innovators in fields we never associated with them. If they could design and construct a vessel capable of flight, what other technological marvels might they have created? This new understanding could lead to a reevaluation of other artifacts and structures, searching for evidence of similarly advanced techniques. This discovery could shed light on the broader technological landscape of the ancient world. The Egyptians' ability to build a flying ship suggests they had a sophisticated understanding of principles that wouldn't be formally recognized until thousands of years later. This knowledge might have been shared with or influenced by other contemporary civilizations, pointing to a more interconnected ancient world than we previously thought. Could this discovery indicate that other ancient cultures also possessed advanced technologies that have been lost to time? It raises questions about the flow of knowledge and technology across ancient societies. Were there other flying ships or similar technological feats in different parts of the world? The implications stretch far beyond Egypt, offering a tantalizing glimpse into a potentially more advanced and interconnected ancient world. The ship, now dubbed the Solar Barge, not just sheds light on ancient Egyptian ingenuity, but also pinpoints their spiritual and cultural connection to the sun god Ra. The concept of a solar barge is highly embedded in Egyptian mythology, symbolizing the journey of the sun god across the sky. This discovery aligns with these ancient beliefs, suggesting that the ship may have been constructed for a ceremonial or religious purpose. The craftsmanship and design of the ship reflect the Egyptians' reverence for their deities and their understanding of the world. The intricate carvings and symbols adorning the ship are not merely decorative. They tell a story of a civilization very connected to its mythology and religious practices. This vessel, intended to traverse the heavens, symbolizes the Egyptians' desire to bridge the earthly and the divine. The solar barge also underscores the importance of the Great Pyramid as more than just a tomb. Its discovery beneath the pyramid suggests that this monumental structure served multiple purposes, possibly as a gateway between worlds or as a repository of sacred knowledge. The intertwining of the pyramid and the barge enriches our understanding of ancient Egyptian culture, revealing layers of significance that go beyond their architectural achievements. This discovery has significant implications for modern Egypt. It focuses on the enduring legacy of the ancient civilization and its contributions to human history. The solar barge, as a symbol of ingenuity and spiritual depth, reinforces Egypt's cultural heritage and its place as a cradle of ancient knowledge and innovation. This newfound artifact has the potential to attract scholars, historians, and tourists eager to learn more about the mysteries of ancient Egypt. It serves as a reminder of the richness of Egypt's past and its continuous influence on contemporary culture and thought. The solar barge is not just an archaeological find. It is a cultural treasure that connects the present to the past, inviting us to explore the depths of human ingenuity and belief. The flying ship under the Great Pyramid is a discovery that challenges our preconceived notions about ancient Egyptian technology and sparks our imagination. This astonishing find suggests that the Egyptians possessed advanced knowledge far beyond what history has recorded. It opens thrilling new avenues for research, compelling experts to rethink long-held assumptions about ancient civilizations.